Welcome everyone in this new live development video about auto chess. In this video we're going to build up the logic of our multiplayer lobby. So let's open up our multiplayer lobby. Let's remove all of these player entries. Let's rename that vertical box player container. This is going to be our player container. Whenever a player connects, it's going to add his name here. So we need to find a way to retrieve that event when a player connects, and I think we do have this either in the game instance or in the game mode. So events, oh yeah, that's in the game mode I think, and we might have even this in the game state. I wonder if we do. It should be a good thing if we do. No, we don't, so we'll have to do some kind of game mode stuff, and the game mode does not exist in clients machines, so it's going to be a problem to communicate with them. So we're going to have to build some kind of multiplayer logic to communicate them the fact that players have joined or disconnected. So we're going to open up our auto battler game mode, and we're going to get events. We want on post login notification that the player has successfully logged in and has been given a player controller. So we want that, and we want to print the new player in there just to see if that's if this is doing something. So the server is printing. The server is going to create a game. So we had to print because that one is also restarted, so this guy has game mode now. But if he tries to find the game, it's going to be connecting, and the server is going to tell us that player connected. So I think we want to do some kind of, when the player connects, we multicast this. Now actually we're going to do it in another way. We're going to have some kind of replicated variable in our game state, which is going to be the player list with an integer, I assume. It's going to be, yeah, we cannot build a map, a replicated map, so this is going to be a problem. But I think we might have a list of players. Online session get current players, that's not it. How are we going to do that? So we might have, what do clients need to know about the other players? They need to know their name, and they're going to have a player state spawning. Yeah, that's how we are supposed to do this. So we're going to remove this, and we're going to go to our we're going to let a bunch of code just so it doesn't it's not brought back to packed mode. So we want to close all of this, and we want to open up our player state. And our player state is automatically being spawned when a player is spawned, and it has some information about that player that we can get, like the player name. So that's exactly what we want to do. So when this is spawning, we're going to print the player name, and it's going to return exactly the same thing it was returning previously, except that the client is also going to print a text. So we want to hit play. It's not spawning anything because we didn't specify in our game mode that we want to use that player state. So in there, in our game mode player state class, we want our auto battler player state like this. We want to hit play, and we have stuff spawning there, and we have one of our prints throwing an empty. If we add a delay, we don't have any blank print, but if we remove our delay, we do have a blank print, and that's only because it's going to, like the game instance is going too fast when we hit play. It doesn't like that kind of initialization. So if we create a game, they're going to have, we have a new player here, and if we find a game, it's going to print three times here, I believe. Yep. But the server is also throwing errors, so we might need to, because it didn't initialize properly. I think it didn't finish to initialize, and I was wondering if we had add an event when it finished. So we might be doing something. Do we have some kind of, yeah, we do have some kind of ID there, and we're going to print the ID. I think it's going to return -2. Okay, so if it's equal 0, I think it means it didn't initialize. We didn't want to find game here, we wanted to create game. So it has a new ID. For 17 it had. Oh, we created a game with the client. We shall never be doing this. So the server is going to be on the right. We want to create a game with the server, and we want to find a game with the client. Okay, so we cannot be using the player ID. Oh yeah, yeah, we can. If it's equal 0, it means it's not initialized. So we want to wait like 0.1 and retry. And if it's not equal 0, we want to print the name of the player. So we have the proper name, we can create a game, we have names, and we can join. Yeah, and we have 3 prints like I was supposing. 2 from here, because there are 2 player state being spawned here, one for the client and one from the server player. And in here we only had 1 print. I meant the 3rd print in there was coming from the server, which was acknowledging the fact that the client wasn't connected, so he received that event. So if everyone is receiving the proper information, I think we can retrieve that information one way or another. In there, can we check if we are a local? We cannot check if we are a local controller is owning clients. We cannot check that. Switch as authority. Yeah, we can't get. We can get the first person, the first player controller. Maybe this is going to do the trick. If this is locally controlled, I think we don't even need to do that. Yeah. Is local player controller. I think this is always return your own player controller. We want to cast to BP OutGame controller. We want to get OutGame menu ref, and we want to open that up. So let's go back there. Widgets, OutGame, lobby. Player entry, we don't want that. We want to drag and drop our lobby in the lobby folder, I think, and lobby browser in lobby. Excuse me. So we're going to open up that multiplayer lobby, add a new function called onPlayerConnect, and when a player connects, we want to create new widgets, which is going to be a player entry. Like this, the owning controller is going to be the owning player of that widget. And for now, we just want to see what it does if this is calling on player connect. Oh yeah, we need to get the multiplayer lobby, and we need to say on player connect. And I'm wondering if if this is gonna work, if we hit play, the server is going to create a game and it doesn't work there, and this is going to find the game and it doesn't work either because we're never adding that to our VBox of player container. Add child, we want to add the child to our box and try again. If we create a game, we have a new player spawning there, and if we join, yep, this is working. So we're going to have a list of players, which is going to be a map of strings like this. And what is it going to be there? We're going to need some kind of way to sort the information we need. So we're going to have a new folder called utils in player, and we're going to have a new structure named f network player, f lobby player, I guess. We're going to have, so the string is going to be the name of the player, but I think we might be needing to store it here anyway. No, we don't. So we're going to have a linear color and a team ID. Team ID linear color like this. The color by default is going to be white. The team ID is going to be 0, and it's going to be f player. How did we just call that? F network. Maybe we need to refresh. F lobby player. So on player connects, we're going to grab our players, find if the name of that player is already used. If it's not used, we're going to create a new. If we do not find it, we're going to create a new entry for that player. Yeah, and I guess it's also going to contain its entry as reference, just in case we need it, like this. So we're going to refresh all nodes. So if it doesn't contain it, we're going to add the player in here. So that name, and we might be on player connects. It's not going to have any ID for now. I think the color is going to be white, and the widget entry is going to be that widget, like this. So, and it doesn't have any information for now. I think we want to give this, we want to set the name of that button. So I think we want to make it so in the button class, the button name is actually expose on spawn. And if we do this in the multiplayer lobby, it's going to ask for a button name, and we're going to pass the player name in there, like this. So if we hit play, create a game, we don't have any name apparently, yeah, because we forgot to call that, to plug that. So get player name, like this, hits play, create game. So we have our name appearing now. Yep, like this. That's really too small. That's a bit bugging me, but it's okay. And so what else do we want to do now that we have the players connecting? We want to make it so when everyone checks ready, we start the game. And we'll take care of team color in another video. So when everyone checks ready, we want to be starting the game. So how are we going to do this? So in one way or another, the server has to know whether or not players have said they were ready. So I think in our player state, so we don't need, so I think we need an OutGamePlayerState. So we need to remove this from here, compile, save, delete the begin play in there, go back there, create a child blueprint. This is going to be BP OutGamePlayerState, OutGame Auto Battler OutGamePlayerState. Okay, that's kind of long, so it's just going to be OutGamePlayerState. We want to paste that here like this, and we want to say in our game mode, so in our outgame mode we want to say that our player state is equal outgame player state, like this. So it should behave exactly the same way it did before. If we create a game, we have our name. Okay, I'm just going to close that real quick. And why did we want it to do this? Because we actually need to do some logic in the game mode, which is not in the player state, I meant, which is not needed to have in-game. So we don't want to overload our in-game player state with unused information. So if we are the server, we're going to bind ourselves. So it's not supposed to be, I think it's not supposed to be, yeah, if we are the server, we're going to store information. So if we have authority, we want to sequence that. In any case, we want to be doing this. And then if the server is detecting the fact that that player state has been connected, it wants to bind itself to the onReady dispatcher, onReady toggle, like this. It wants to bind itself. We're actually going to assign like this. So we're going to call that event when the player checks the box. And I think we want a new boolean there, be checked, be ready. Like this, so it automatically added it here. We want to refresh this on ready. So the server is going to receive that information, but how do because so the client can be calling an event there, onReady toggle, like this. So the client is going to be calling that event, which is going to actually be calling server onReady toggle, which is going to be run on server and reliable. So we are not going to be using this for now. I was mistaken. So when the client says it is ready, it's going to call the server, which is going to have a variable which is going to be rep notify, like this. And this is actually going to call the dispatcher we just deleted onReady toggle. It's going to have that same parameter. We're going to call this in here, plug that here. So when the client is going to check that box, it's going to call this, which is going to call that server onReady toggle. like this. So I guess we need to go in our player entry, get our box, uncheck status change. We want to get our player states. Oh, we cannot get the player state from here? Oh, why can't we? I think I thought we were able to get our player state from anywhere. Get owning player, get player states, cast into OutGamePlayerState, set ready, toggle ready, on ready toggle, like this. So we just want to go there and go to here and print the value of the ready when we receive that. So it's going to be false by default. We're going to receive it, I suppose. We're not even. Why? Maybe we're not in the right game mode in here. So we have our OutGamePlayerState class. So maybe we're not receiving it the first time. So the server is going to host, and we are not receiving anything. He is going to find the game like this, and it doesn't create the player entry like we were supposed to see. So client receives this. So you see how it's how there is a delay between the two prints. So why is it no longer working, that logic we built? I wonder. The server is going to create a game, and he is going to find the game. Join success, and we don't have the stuff in there, but yet we didn't change anything. I think that's because the player controller is not valid in there. Just for the sake of testing, if we say like wait 1 second, no, it doesn't work anyway. Why is it so? Because when the server player state is no, it should be working. It was working, wasn't it? In any case, the logic here, it doesn't even give the name. So the player states is there. It's getting the player controller of the owning client. It's necessarily local player, so it should always return true, I assume. Except if get player controller is 0 is actually not always returning the player controller of the owning client. We cannot grab if the player state is we cannot get instigator controller. What is it returning? Because we want to know if this is locally controlled or not. We just need to print this for now. So obviously it always returns true. I shouldn't have pressed that. So it returns true, and if we find a game, it returns true as well. So I guess this is always correct. So yeah, that's the issue, I think. this is always true. So that sounds... So in my realm, this is spawning, this is grabbing the player controller, the first one it finds, and it's getting its outgame menu reference. Maybe it hasn't been created, or the player name is not yet... Oh yeah, I think we need to be calling this, I'm not sure. Maybe we can okay, that was the problem, I think. Maybe we can try have a faster test process by just saying in our game instance that it's multiplayer by default. Yep. Yeah, better. So if we check that, the client know we are ready. But we can check others player entries, and we don't want that. So we want to check if we are... So in some place, in one way or another, we want to prevent that checkbox from being used. So we're just going to say it's not enabled by default, and we are going to enable it if this is our own local player state. So we want to grab the player state of the player controller 0. We want to ask if we are that player state, and if we are, we want to enable that the entry we just created. So I think we want to pass that information. On player connects, we want to know if this is self, if this is ourselves. We want to pass that. And if it's self, we want to enable our checkbox, get checkbox ready, set enabled. We want to plug that in here like this, and we want to make that checkbox bigger because it's going to be hell on earth to see how it behaves. Maybe we can cheat it by doing this, I'm not sure. This is going to use all the size, and nope, it looks like it's not going to work. It's not going to rescale it, so we're going to remove the size box and we're going to do it by hand. So it's going to be that big. We're going to do it once, so like 50. So it's a bit boring. I think we can stop at that one because we're not going to use this. So it might even be too big, but I don't mind. So I cannot set that one, and I cannot set any of these when I should be able to change mine. So why is it not working? Because so I think this is not the proper way to check if we are locally controlled. And I think it's quite strange that we cannot know if this is our player state or not. Find it really strange. So when a player connects, we are creating this, and I think maybe it's not valid on clients, that's why it returns false. We're going to print that to know. Actually, we're going to cheat even more. We're going to select, check if this is valid. If it's valid, we're going to return this. If not, we're going to return true, just to see if we can Okay, so there is definitely something wrong in there. So when we check for the server, the player state is not valid, and when we check for us, it says the player state is valid, but it's not ours. It's not that one. So we are getting the player controller of the server on client, which is quite strange because we do get. So it's not possible. This shouldn't be possible, I think, to have that. It means if we, oh yeah, no, it's possible if we don't know who's the client there on the player entry, so we're just going to cheat real quick. In here we want to get the player name. We actually want to get, are we the server? Like this. So we are the client and we are the server. But why do we only have one now when we had two previously? If we do this, we're going to have two. But if we do that, we're only having one, which is not possible. Oh yeah, okay, that's possible, because we are returning server and client and client. Yeah, that's silly. That is silly. The client is for each player state, the client is returning client there, obviously, because it's always the client. So why can't I? So it's actually working because I can modify mine. I am as the client, I am 7A, because I can't modify 7A as the server. So this is actually working. It's just that we don't know who's the server and who's the client. So we need to be able to find a way to do this. Can we set our player name? No, we can't. That's obvious. That's good that we can't. So I'm wondering how we can do this. Maybe in the player entry itself. Now it's going to, yeah, it's going to modify even the get owning player is locally controlled. Yeah, it's always going to be locally controlled because I'm only existing here. This is only existing on clients. So if that player state, it's like if it's the first player, yeah, we can do some kind of cheat code, like if it's the first player, it's necessarily the server, but it's kinda ugly. If the length equals 1, we're going to modify the color of the text, I guess. Get text player name, set color, make color, make it red. Yeah, I think that's really awkward to do it that way. Yeah, because my player state is actually spawning faster than the server player state as a client, so my name appears first here. So this is not how we can do this. I'm wondering why is it so hard to... I had the feeling I will do that really easily. And I'm wondering, I think I'm missing something I knew how to do. That's all because I cannot check if we are locally controlled there. And it's real strange, I can't. Get instigator, that's why we tried last time, I think. Get instigator controller. I think if this is not valid, it means except on server, so on client it will return, I think it will return false on clients here, I'm not sure, once. So the server has it all. Oh, it doesn't spawn anything now. Yeah. So it means, so I can't modify any of these. Yeah, that was our previous bug, and that's because the player state is not valid. So I think if we just say that we wait for like 0.5 seconds, it's gonna work, just for the sake of testing. So yeah, I can modify mine but can't modify the other. So that's because the player state of the client hasn't spawned yet. But we are in the player state. Yeah. That's quite annoying. So this is never valid. Okay. So for now we're just going to make it so we see the checkbox popping of the other player. So I think we are all receiving that event. And we want to make it so this is going to be a function get out game menu. Like this, we're going to let the delay for now because the video is already running long and we don't want to be bothered too much with this for now. So we want to get our out game menu there. We should always be looking to see if we are locally controlled, and we are never doing this, so this is bothering me as well. So if we have a multiplayer lobby there, what do we want to do when someone sets ready? We want to get the multiplayer lobby. Oh yeah, we do have the lobby there. So we want to get the players. We actually want to for now we want to get the lobby. For now we're just going to get the players, find get player name, we want our name, and what do we want to do? We want to grab the widget entry and we want to set the checkbox, get the checkbox and set ready. Now we want to set checked, set is checked like this, and is it going to be ready or not? So if we hit play, if we check that, it's going to be checked. If we check that, it's going to be checked like this. And I think we can see the lag in action. As you can see, when I check it on the right, it doesn't check it instantly, and if I check a lot, it's only going to receive the event once in a while because it's being updated like every 0.1 second or stuff like that. So that's part of the bug, of the lag. in multiplayer, not a bug at all. So in here you can see in the class defaults of the player state we have a variable named net update frequency. That's how much per second this is updated. If we do like 60, it's really expensive, and you're going to have much less lag. For instance, you're going to see how faster it updates, but it's much more expensive, so we're just going to let it to 1 for now because we don't care much if we have 1 second delay in there. So what do we want to do now? We just want to detect this, the fact that everybody is ready, and we want to start the game if everybody is. So I guess in the where are we going to add that little bit of logic? Who knows that everybody's who can keep track of who's ready? So we want to get rid of the game instance. So the player entry, they do know who's ready. The multiplayer lobby, I think the multiplayer lobby is going to do that. Or is it? Because the player states when it's ready. When it's ready, I think we want to have in here we want to have a function set player ready, which is going to do this. We want to set player ready. Oh, it needs a parameter and a name, so a string and a ready function, be ready, and player name, and in there we're going to do what we were doing previously. So we want to get our player name there, and we want to tell if we are ready or not, like this. Oh yeah. The game mode could have been, yeah, that's how we are supposed to do that, I think. But we still need this, so we need to compile here to refresh here. Yep, like this. We can refresh here, we can go there, and we will be doing this. It should work exactly the same way it was. So if I check here, it's going to be ready here. Okay, so that works well. But actually the game mode is going to bind itself to that. So in here, if we have the authority, so we're going to open up our game mode, like this. We're going to open full blueprint editor. Add this. We're going to add a new function on player ready, which is going to, so on ready toggle we only have a boolean, and I think we need to also pass as parameter our name, and I think the outgame mode is going to have a reference to all the players ready status. So we're going to have a new variable named player ready status, I assume, which is going to be a map of name and boolean, like this. On ready player is going to have the same parameter, player name, B is ready, be ready, that's it. And we're going to add to that map the player and the ready status, and then we're going to loop through the keys, and if we have as much player as we have as the max player amount we were looking for, required player amount, we're going to say 2 for now, and the game mode is going to change that. For instance, you can have 4v4 or 2v2, and you're going to modify that value. So if we have enough players, we're going to check if all players are ready when someone changes his ready status, and if not, if someone's not ready, and if everyone's ready, I mean, we're going to start the game. So what is the value? Okay, this is the value. Yeah, so if that player is not ready, how are we going to do this? So it's kinda easy, I mean, but so we're just going to have a local variable which is going to be a boolean, be temp ready. So if one of them is not ready, we're going to call that be can't start. So if one of them is not ready, we won't be able to start. And at the end, we won't be able to start. At the end, we're going to add a print which says if we can start or not. So when we hit play, I check ready. Oh yeah, we didn't bind the event. Oh, I need to go. I need to be right back. Just a second. Excuse me, I'm back. So we didn't bind that event on player ready. So in the player states, if we have the authority, we're going to get the game mode and cast it into the game mode we want, the out game mode, and we want to bind an event to we want to create event like this, not like this. I think we want to bind this on ready toggle. We want to create, yeah, that's what we wanted to do, to create an event like this on player ready. So it's, oh, we should have false, I think, when we do this. We don't. Why don't we? Because we did not, I think we did not store our player in that. Yeah, we did not store player in there, but we are doing this right now. So it's, I'm wondering why. Is it even triggering? It should be triggering, I think. Hello. Hello. So so this is firing here. So I guess this is the problem. Yeah, it's never. We never have. the required amount, I guess, but I wonder why. We should have the required amount. So what is the length? 1. We shouldn't have one player there. Player ready status. So when one player is checking, it's sending information and filling this keys length. So I think it should be working. That's quite strange. So if we have, so when a player spawns, if we have authority, we're going to grab the game mode, and this is actually working because for both of the player entries, because we do receive. Oh yeah, okay. One, two, but it doesn't say ready. It does say hello, and I think that's our ready. And it wasn't saying ready at the proper time. So if one of them is not ready, we cannot start. So we don't need this, we don't need that, can't start. So why? So we're going to add something else saying not ready, like this. So I check that, and it should say not ready when I check that, because it should be, and I'm wondering why it's not. Because we don't have the required amount, so we can't start. That's why. So we're just going to plug that in here. Yeah. So server not ready to start the game. And when I check, it says not ready, and then it says ready, and I think that's just an issue here. So if this is false, we can't start. That's quite strange. What does it send us? What does it tells us? Is this the value? Yeah. So if we can't start, okay. We're doing things not the good way, because if we can't start, we are not ready. So this was correct. So we are ready, we are not ready. Yes, that was kinda silly of me. But we are finally making it, guys. So if we can start, if we can start, we're going to append a level. We're actually going to execute console command, which is going to be server travel map in-game. I guess that's the name. I don't think that's the name actually. Level in-game map. And specific player, we're going to grab the first player controller, and I think this is going to work right away. Okay, that sounds, I was kinda, so it didn't work, and we don't want to go in that map. We want to go in the dev map for now. And we don't, no, we don't want to put a specific player in there, I think. So I check ready, and we are in here, but the other player is not. when it should be. I think there is something I'm doing wrong. This is one of my own tutorial.
Hey, welcome back.
So Inception. So at some point in this video I'm doing a server travel. Server travel plus the level name. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm not sure why it's not working. We want to plug, oh yeah, we want to plug the, I'm not plugging any specific player, so that's an old Unreal version. So yeah, the client can also ask to level travel, I guess. So that's where we want to go, yeah. Trigger level traveling. So yeah, this should be working. And in here I think I just say listen, yeah, listen server. So it's not traveling any. So yeah, I had the same bug here. I made the same research. And why is it not working? So now it's working. Why is it? There is just absolute which is different? I wonder. I don't think. Absolute listen. Why? Ah, yeah. I think that's because I was in the game instance when I was calling the... Oh no, it's not working just because we are not passing by the right initialization mode. So multiplayer unchecked, hit play, create game, find game. So hopefully it's going to join. I'm going to be able to say that the server is ready, the client is ready. And yeah, so that was the only problem, was that we were not initializing the game the proper way. So we have some kind of way to, so if we package that into a .exe, we are able to jump into the game, because we're going to open up a game which is going to have that menu. We will be able to create game on LAN, on the local area network. You're going to find each other. You can find games, and we're going to implement the server browser logic in another video. Players are able to check if they are ready or not, and if they are, is going to start the game like this. So we kind of jumped ahead. We can be glad of ourselves. That was one tough video, and of course there is a lot of things to polish in that video, but I think we're going to remain with that stage for a while, because we now have the proper execution and initialization pipeline, so we can make all of the systems which depend on that initialization. So hope you guys enjoyed that video. Hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye.